Hello and welcome back to the first episode of the new year of the Off the Backboard podcast. It's Caleb and I back again as the hosts. How's your new year going for you early, Caleb?
Not too bad. Definitely took plenty of time to sleep in. I was not awake super early to start the year, and that's how I like it. But yeah, no, pretty good start to the year. I enjoyed some good basketball yesterday. My Cavs got a win, so maybe they're turning a corner. They're not. The New
New year,
Year's
new Cavs.
resolution should be play better perimeter defense, but and make trades, but they won't. They won't do either. But it's a it's a good start to the year. I'll take it.
Yeah. And since you mentioned the Cavs, they won yesterday. They were part of, I believe, 14 games yesterday for the New Year's Eve games. But really only three stood out to me if we want to talk about those games. One of which I think everybody who follows me on Twitter knows I talked about it. The Wizards are now 5-4 over their last 9 games, and including that game against the Bucks last night, where it came down to the wire. Alex Sarr came up big, and I think had the biggest moment of the night, where he blocked Giannis on a putback attempt, which led to CJ McCollum hitting the game winner.
Yeah. I gotta say, with the Wizards, I already texted you. I'm really impressed with Johnson. I think he's been really exciting to start this year. Just shooting from anywhere on the court. The amount of range he's willing to shoot from definitely has me wondering the sustainability of this current play style. But I'm really enjoying it. I always like to see young teams kind of have these stars really pop, and it's good. I like it.
Yeah, Trey Johnson set the Wizards record for most consecutive threes last
Wow.
night,
Did not know that.
and which goes back. It's now 2 games long, his streak, and he did it on like a 30-footer. Just he's got, and then after the game, I think I texted this to you. He was asked about like whether or not he sees like any Steph Curry in his game, or it was something along those lines. It was in an interview with Chase Hughes, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm better than Steph Curry," or something like that. But
Yeah, that's a little wild, but good on him for having that confidence.
yeah, I love the confidence, and he's shooting lights out. Another guy who is also just balling out. Bub Carrington had 15 points in
Yeah.
the fourth
That's
quarter
good.
alone, I believe it was, and just absolutely cooked the Bucks. Might have just been the second half, but it was he went absolutely ballistic on them and had probably his best performance of the season. And he's really starting to, over his last 10 games or so, maybe a little bit longer than that. He's really flipped a switch and has looked like that franchise cornerstone point guard. Maybe not starting long-term starting point guard, but he's looked like much
An
more
important
of
piece
the
of a good
player
team.
that he was expected to be this season.
Yeah.
And it's been really nice to see. And like I said, Alex Sarr was fantastic. But another one of the games that stood out to me was that Nuggets game. They had no Jokic, but still managed to pull home a win against really a pretty solid to good Raptors team.
Yeah. Yeah, they only won by 3 points. What was it, like 106 to 103, something like that. I'm pulling it up right now to see the box score. I didn't get a chance to watch much of it. I think I saw about a quarter of it. But people looked good. I mean, Peyton Watson, he shot, let me see, what was it, 19 times, played 36 minutes. He looked great. Unfortunately, Valanciunas, after the game, is now also missing 4 weeks to be reevaluated in 4 weeks, so we have no idea what that timetable will be. So the Nuggets took another big blow there. I think Valanciunas, his role was kind of to be able to step in if Jokic was out for a bit, and that didn't happen. But, well, it did happen, but it's not going to happen for much longer now.
Happened for about a third of a game.
Yeah. Jamal Murray, he looked great, but again, it's Jamal Murray. He's one of those players where, like, okay, he didn't shoot great from the field, but I feel his offensive gravity, like, him on the court makes things happen. I'm a really big Jamal Murray fan. I understand he's never a all-star because he doesn't try during the regular season. It's like a Denver's version of Jimmy Butler, but I think I was really impressed with his performance just without Jokic to come through and put up great numbers. It was 7 rebounds, 6 assists, got a steal and a block. Jamal Murray's legit. I think a lot of people forget about Murray. We say, oh, they got Jokic and then nobody else. How are they going to win a title? You do have Jamal Murray, who's like the definition of a playoff riser. So I don't think Cam Johnson is playing right now either, by the way. I think he's hurt too. So
Yeah,
they're
they've been plagued by
really
injuries
struggling
this season.
They're really struggling.
Yeah, and in the absence of Jokic for the next 4 weeks, I think it's not going to be just one person like Jamal Murray stepping
Yeah.
up and taking over those loads. It's going to have to be spread throughout everybody else. So losing Jonas Valanciunas, who is really your best bet replacing that rebounding, because Jokic is, in my opinion, the best rebounding player in the league as of right now. So losing that and then losing Jonas Valanciunas, it's like you're losing a lot of rebounding, and that has the ability to swing games. A lot of
Yeah.
people forget that how important rebounding can be, but really that's the main thing. Or that's the main thing that almost blew the Wizards that game last night as well. They stopped getting rebounds, and Milwaukee went on this giant like 12-2 run. It's so like losing that ridiculous amount of rebounding and just that huge rebounding advantage is devastating for the Nuggets during this stretch. Although I do think we may see not Khalil Ware. I just said his name a minute ago, like before he started recording. I'm forgetting his name.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, Deron Holmes.
Yeah.
So I confuse those two all the time in my mind. But I do think we'll see a lot of Deron Holmes during this stretch. I think he's going to get extended minutes, especially with Aaron Gordon also being out.
Oh gosh, I forgot Gordon's out too.
Yeah,
Wow.
they're out 4 out of their 5 starters, and then also a significant chunk of their bench. They've
Wow.
got Jamal Murray, and then like the end of their bench. And
I mean,
Peyton Watson.
Jalen Pickett is starting right now, and like he's not a horrible
Yeah.
player, but so is Spencer Jones.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
like, they'd beat
like-
me in any kind of pickup game, but they're not the people you want starting on a contender.
No. But if they're able to tread water and not necessarily just have a great record, but be able to beat the bad teams and just be somewhat halfway competitive against the middle ground teams for 4 weeks, that's all they need. And then Jokic will be able to get them back up to the playoffs. And then once they're healthy, that could be a discussion for the playoffs. But
RIP
Yeah,
to
they just-
anybody's fantasy team that had Jokic though, because
Yeah.
if you're building a fantasy team, your team is built on Jokic, and anyone else you don't care. So it was a fun season for you guys. Bless up. My fantasy teams do not have Jokic. I wanted Jokic, but apparently I got lucky. We are built around Cade Cunningham with one of them, and he's doing great. He's winning
It's not
plenty
bad.
of weeks,
It's not
so
bad.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Yeah. But the other performance that stood out to me the most was not necessarily the game, but Julian Champagny for the Spurs had 36 points
Yep.
and did not attempt a single shot inside the arc.
Did he not?
He did not attempt a single 2-point shot.
I
It's
am a big believer in Julian Champagny. I think he's the real deal.
I like both of the Champagny brothers. Like they
Wow, you're right. He didn't.
no.
That's wild.
It's an NBA record. He is the only player to ever score 35 plus without ever attempting a 2-point shot. I think Julian Champagny, while obviously being the better of the two brothers, I think they're both like perfect role players
They are.
in
They
the
are.
modern NBA because they can both shoot. They both
Yep.
have tremendous motor. They both have positional size to rebound. They're both great playmakers for their position.
They also
It's
just
like,
have hustle, which I think is
Yeah.
so many playmakers miss the mark on is the hustle. They become specialists in like one thing because they don't have the energy and the effort on a lot of parts of the game.
yeah, and
The
they're
Champagny
both
brothers don't struggle with that.
Yeah, they're both like you said, high energy, high motor,
Yeah.
and they'll both go on the ground, fight for a rebound, and it's really for it. I'm gonna transition back to the Wizards because it's my team, but like watching Justin Champagny, like he'll come into a game and his energy will have a massive impact on the Wizards as a whole, and it's weird like seeing him get. He's on the best contract in the league, by the way. Just gonna put that out there, but he.
Isn't
come
Jalen
out-
Johnson only making like $25 million? I don't know. That
That's-
might be a better
I
contract.
actually have no idea how much he's making.
Let me see.
I think he's still on his rookie contract, isn't he? Or
No,
this is
he's
last year of his
got
rookie?
a second one. It's average annual value
Gotcha.
of $30 million now. So.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty good for him. Still pretty
Yeah.
cheap considering.
Justin
he's-
Champagny is making like $2.5 million.
Yeah. Okay.
It's-
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But he and they're able to put an instant spark onto a team that has the talent, especially the Spurs, has the talent to be great. If they get into a rut, you put in Champagne and instantly like energy, you get great plays back to back to back, and it just energizes the entire team and can change the outcome of the game.
Yeah, I think the NBA is really seeing kind of the next generation of those young stars. And I think this is probably a good transition into our next topic about the anti-tanking policy. But I want to give like one shout out. They didn't play on New Year's, but I've been watching. I always have like some other teams, like younger upcoming teams that I really like to watch. I'm never really one to watch all the biggest stars every game because you kind of know what you're going to get out of it. It's great, but you know. For me, it's been Keontae George of the Utah Jazz. He has been so exciting to see that growth. I've always been a really big fan of the Jazz, and I won't lie, not even because of the players. Not a Malone guy, not a Stockton guy, definitely not a Malone guy. Let me really clarify that. But for me, it was the jerseys they wore in the 90s. I mean, just iconic team branding. Peak.
And then the brown and back.
So, yeah, and they brought him back. I love their current... Honestly, the Jazz, to me, right now, those like white jerseys with the purple mountains on them, best jerseys in the league. They have the best branding in the NBA now that they got rid of their ugly highlighted uniforms. Keontae George is doing those jerseys proud. It's great to see another young, talented guard there in Utah, and it kind of bears a resemblance to like the early days of Donovan Mitchell, where it's just high quality score, lots of passing, he can rebound, kind of this do-it-all guy. But George is a little bit taller, he's bigger. He's also still
More
really
of a
young.
traditional
He's got
point
Lowry
guard too.
Markkanen. Yeah, more of a traditional point guard. I don't think Mitchell was ever built for a traditional point guard role. So I'm really excited for the Jazz. And personally, if I was a team, having any level of struggles this year, I would be looking to tank to get into this year's draft, the highest picks, to try to find my Keontae George, find my Alex Sarr, find my Trey Johnson. Like the young talent in the NBA and the young talent coming into it are so incredible, which probably is why the NBA is starting to rethink tanking, because tanking is the best strategy you can have right now in the NBA.
Well, yeah, and I'll touch on tanking here in just a second, but just to touch on like a little bit of the of how great the talent coming into the league right now. If you were to go over the last ever since they started tracking box plus minus, which is back to the 2002-2003 season, so really you can extend it back to the year 2000 because there weren't really any great freshman prospects. Take the every freshman and rank them in box plus minus. The top 10, it's all guys who... There are two guys who had their career derailed early due to injury, and then first ballot Hall of Famers, and then four guys in this year's draft. Now keep in mind, the two guys that aren't first ballot Hall of Famers are Chet Holmgren and Zion Williamson. Right? Where Zion probably would be.
Year?
Yeah, Zion Williamson probably would be a first ballot Hall of Famer already at this point had he stayed healthy. And Chet Holmgren has also been fantastic. He's a DPOY caliber player three. He's played 3 years now. Every year he's played.
He barely played because of that broken hip, but he played.
Yeah, every if he's able to hit that 65 game margin, and Wemby doesn't, it's his. Like he's that impactful of a defensive player, and then he's probably one of the best stretch fours in the league. On top of that, like he's a tremendous talent. It's just he's kind of in a weird spot where he's the third option, kind of the second option, and probably not going to get a ton of nods because of that. And he's also on probably the least popular team in the league right now as well.
I'm not going to go on too much of a soapbox here, but I do want to say really quick, saying the OKC Thunder are so unpopular, I don't get it. I love seeing teams be great. We haven't had a team that has the potential to be a dynasty since the Warriors. And the Warriors became unlikable because they added Kevin Durant after winning 73 games, okay? We are seeing a homegrown, group of talented players. I understand if you're a fan of, the Lakers or some other Western Conference contender, you're probably not a fan of them. But, people are discrediting them, saying that, they get swept by... I saw someone say they couldn't hold a torch to the 2013 Indiana Pacers.
Yeah, it's
This is
weird.
one of the greatest teams we have seen in
I
about a
think
decade.
I think this is the best team we've seen since that Kevin Durant Warriors.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I don't think it's necessarily close either.
I don't
Granted,
think
that
so.
Kevin Durant Warriors team, I don't think we're ever going to see a team that good. But it's to me a big reason why they're as unpopular as they are is because they're that great, but have the attitude of that 2018 Rockets team where they're like, yeah, we're better than you, but then lose.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
where they like, and then it's the foul baiting as well. I'm not gonna call it flopping, but
You
it's the
don't
foul
win a
baiting.
championship without foul baiting. SGA
Yeah,
definitely does it. Some of it gets a little bit
yeah,
excessive. I do
and
not
then
think he's like a James
yeah,
Harden peak version of foul baiting, but yeah,
no,
it gets frustrating at times for
yeah,
sure.
and also Lou Dort being kind of the way he has been over
Lou
the
Dort's
last
been
couple
playing
seasons.
dirty. Yeah,
He has
not a
been,
fan of
yeah.
that. You
No,
always have that on any contender. There's someone who plays dirty, and the coach kind of knows it, but he's going to let it slide because they want to win a championship. Like, there's always dirty play
yeah.
on great teams. But you can't
But
just
back
have
to the point. Back to the point I was
But yeah,
trying to make.
yeah.
Yeah, in the top 10 for box plus minus since they started tracking the stat, it's Cameron. You got Cameron Boozer at 2, Darren Peterson at 3, Cooper Flag at 5. By the way, AJ Dibansa at 7, and Caleb Wilson at 9.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah, this year's
like
draft is ridiculously good.
now, if you remember how great Karl Anthony Towns was in college, that his freshman year, he's at 10th.
Wow.
You have all four of those guys are, according to Box Plus Minus, better prospects than Karl Anthony Towns. Granted, these are as of like a week ago, week and a half ago, but like the level of talent now. It's also a deep draft on top of that. There's a ton of guys who probably go top 5 in any other year, probably going mid lottery, late lottery.
Yeah.
It's a very heavy, very strong draft. It's the top 3 strongest it's ever. It's strongest top 3 that I can think of off the top of my head. It's got plenty of depth to it too. It's a very deep class as well, and so it's just there's a lot of incentive to tank right now. So I
Yeah.
understand why the NBA is wanting to discourage tanking, but also at the same time, how do you do it without screwing over smaller market teams?
Let me go ahead. I can read off like this snippet of the ESPN
Yeah,
story on it, just that way anyone who's watching who hasn't heard it knows. But what it says is the NBA has begun to gather input from its owners and general managers on new ways to combat tanking and the aftermath of the gambling scandal that rocked the league at the start of the season, sources told ESPN. At a Board of Governors meeting Friday, the league presented several ideas around potential modifications to rules regarding draft pick protections, the draft lottery, and other possible approaches, according to multiple sources. In other words, the NBA wants to be able to rig the draft more. I'm sorry, my bad, keep it fair. In recent years, multiple teams have either shut down players early or sat players for games to try to improve their draft positioning, often tied to a protected pick, e.g., the Mavericks trying to get Derek Lively. Sources said multiple ideas were proposed as a brainstorming measure to combat tanking, including limit protections to either top 4 or 14 and higher, which would eliminate the problematic mid-lottery protections, no longer allowing a team to draft in the top 4 2 years in a row. I don't mind that idea, honestly. Locking lottery positions after March 1st, I don't like that. These ideas, which came from the league and its high-ranking officials, would theoretically dissuade non-playoff teams from sitting their starters for games throughout the season and provide reasons to continue to try to win games, particularly down the stretch of a campaign. That is the overall look at it. It doesn't get into the nitty-gritty of like everything they might consider. I
yeah,
don't mind the way that we change how teams can trade their draft picks. I do think there's become a problem of draft picks. They're becoming more valuable as time goes on, but almost no
yeah.
team has draft picks to trade anymore because they've all traded them away. And you have teams like OKC who can just hoard picks, or the Pelicans. They probably really wish they had next year's draft pick right now, but the Derek Queen trade, and I think Queen maybe almost could have been worth it, but looking at how good this draft class is, maybe not.
Yeah, especially with how bad the Pelicans have been, because they were really gambling on being a lot better as well.
Yeah, and again, I do like the idea of not being able to draft in the top 4 2 years in a row. I think that's good. I think it, it would mean the Spurs don't have Wemby and Stephon Castle, right? So it does kind of hurt this ability to have like homegrown talent that way. I could see that maybe you can't be in the top 4 2 years in a row if you jumped one year, right? Like if you were projected the 7th pick or the 8th pick and you jumped into the top 4, you're not able to jump your position 2 years in a row. I could see that, right? I think if a team really sucks, they should be able to stay in the top 4.
Yeah, like let's look at like the Wizards this year because they've been bad for a while. They're the only team at the bottom of the standings that have been bad several years in a row. Like you look at them, why would you be like, yeah, no, they can't pick in the top 4 this year?
Yeah, they probably need it. And also they've gotten screwed by the lottery a lot recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like the Lakers when they were awful post Kobe, and even like the last couple of years of having Kobe, they picked 2nd overall pick.
Yep.
Like what, 3 years in a row with the
Something
Sixers,
like that,
and the Sixers had the number 1 pick like 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
And
Markelle Fultz.
I believe the Celtics had the 3rd overall pick in all of those as well.
Yeah, I think it was like the same 3 teams 3 years.
Yeah, like 3 years in a row, and it's like that shouldn't happen, right? Especially since the Celtics. Yeah, they were using the Nets pick, but they were jumping up every year. The Sixers were jumping up every year. Like, removing the ability to jump into the top 4 when you're not a top 4 or bottom 4 team, I think is a good idea. But removing the ability to pick top 4 in back-to-back years for a team that finished bottom of the league in back-to-back years, I think that screws that team. Because how is that team supposed to accrue talent? Granted, it's also like there's more talent later in the draft than there has been. Like we're seeing late first-round picks blossom on a regular basis now.
Shout out Jalen Tyson.
I was thinking Keyshawn George has been fantastic. There are a few other guys that are slipping my mind. Keontae George as well was picked a little bit later. You mentioned him earlier. Like we're seeing guys picked a little bit later. Shaden Sharp as well, where they're being the main guys on team. They're being a top 2 player on a team, but they were picked way later. So I think that does make sense on that point of view. I don't know. It's just it's kind of one of those things where you can't really discourage tanking because that's really far and away the best way of building a team unless you're the Lakers, where you can just go and get whatever free agents and trades you want.
I do wonder about this limiting pick protections. It does get very overly complicated because sometimes, let's say you have a top 8 protected. It ends up number 7, so sometimes it turns into an unprotected first the next year. Sometimes it becomes a top 14 protected the next year, or it just turns into 2 seconds. Like, these protections do get a little bit ridiculous, especially with the stepping rule, where if you have like a top 5 protected pick this year, you can't, like the stepping rule kind of screws you because you have to also kind of protect that next year's pick if somehow that protection would turn into some first round pick the next year. It gets really ridiculous at times. Sometimes I wonder, should the NBA only allow first round pick swaps? No, you cannot trade your first round pick straight up. You can only have swaps, and every year every team has to actually have their draft pick. Because now we have teams like OKC where they have 5, 6 draft picks in 1 year sometimes in the first round. I think teams have gotten so trade picks happy that it's just, of course the NBA is looking at it because we're at this point where, if you are, let's say the Cavaliers, right? Maybe they want to blow it up. Maybe they realize this isn't going to work. You trade everyone. You don't have your own draft picks. So it doesn't make sense to trade everyone. You're just stuck where you're at because you don't control your picks. Or the Suns, they don't control their picks for a while. Or what's the team that just does not control their picks? Clippers. Yeah, the Clippers. What do? You don't control your picks until, 2032? You have 6 more years until you have control over your pick? I think there should be stricter rules on trading picks, but I don't think they need to not let a bad team get a good pick.
Yeah, and we're also something you kind of brushed on a second ago as well is like picks are also just becoming more valuable, right? Like a few years ago, we saw 5 first-round picks be traded for Rudy Gobert, right? and then last year, 1 first-round pick for Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Granted, the player talent and the Luka trade was a little bit higher, with that being Anthony Davis.
Until now, Anthony Davis is likely to get traded less than 1 calendar year later, but yeah.
Yeah. But it's like picks are also just becoming more valuable in general. We're seeing players moved for a lot less picks than they were just a few years ago, and I think a big part of that's that second apron. Then, like, we're seeing, like, on top of that, we're seeing, like, Giannis is potentially being moved for, like, what, 3 maybe? Picks. Like, it's not a lot. Like, picks are becoming more valuable. Teams are less likely to move them. But also, you've got, like, 8 teams that just don't have their picks for a while.
Will
so
the Hawks even get a first-round pick for Trae Young if they trade him?
Probably not, no. I've seen some people even say that they'd have to attach a pick to move him, or have it be part of a larger Anthony Davis trade that includes
the larger Anthony Davis trade.
Yeah, I've seen talks of Ricochet and Asa Newell both being thrown to Dallas, and then Trae Young being included to like a third team, like to try and avoid trading that first round pick. But also, like, they also don't own their first round pick this year, which they traded to the Spurs. Because the Spurs need more talent, more young talent on their roster.
And that was for DeJounte Murray, by the way, a player who's
yes,
not
it was
there
for DeJounte Murray.
Yeah,
that was a trade that happened a while ago.
Yeah. That happened when I was still in undergrad. I had not even graduated college yet.
He's now on his second team since then, and he's missed a season and a half in New Orleans. So,
yep, love it.
Wonderful trade value there, especially if they get the number 1 overall pick and manage to get frickin' AJ Debinsa on this team.
At that point, you just shut down the league. Just shut it down. At that point, it's just the Spurs and the Thunder. That's all that matters.
But yeah, like I've seen a few people throw out the idea of just abolishing the draft lottery altogether.
I would not be opposed.
Yeah, but again, like that doesn't necessarily dissuade.
It incentivizes taking so much more. It absolutely.
It incentivizes like completely bottoming out. Because then instead of a 14% chance at the number 1 overall pick, you get a 100% chance.
However, I would say that is a better product for fans than this lottery system. Take a team like the Wizards, for example, right? You guys should have been in the top 4 multiple years in a row, and you keep falling out of it. Wasn't it last year you fell to 5th when that was the lowest you could have fallen? Or 6th, sorry.
It was 6th. The Wizards and the Pistons, with the exclusion of Alex Sarr and Cade Cunningham, both of those teams, who were awful for a long time, managed to get the lowest possible pick they could have gotten, like 8 years in a row combined. It was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's not a good product for fans. Fans want to have, like, the hope for a bad team's fan base is the potential draft pick you can get, right? Like, the Dallas Mavericks had, a 1.8% chance to get Cooper Flagg in this last draft. You know, it was...
Yeah. And they kind of needed
should not have had it. Yeah, but the worst team in the NBA, who probably needs Cooper Flagg a lot more than the Mavericks didn't get him.
Yeah. Although I don't think right now either the Jazz or the Wizards are complaining too much. I mean, yeah, it sucks to lose out on Flagg. I'm not saying that these guys are anywhere close to Flagg, but especially over the last month or so, both of those teams are starting to look a lot closer to playoff contention than the Mavericks are. And granted, they're neither one of them are going to make the playoffs this year. Don't get me wrong. I think the Wizards still need AJ Debinsa or Cam Boozer, one of those two, and the Jazz still need some jump from Ace Bailey, and also another shooting guard. But like, they both look a lot better now with their rookies than they did a year ago, and I don't think either one of them's complaining too much, especially with Ace Bailey sliding 2 spots as well to the Jazz. But another idea I've seen thrown out there is a completely flattened lottery system where it's basically the 1985 draft lottery, if you've seen that, where every team has a 7.4% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick. But to me, like, that screws small market teams or teams that can't get free agents.
Yeah,
Because at that
absolutely.
point, free agency would become infinitely more impactful on team building. So if you're not an attractive free agent destination, so like Memphis or Cleveland or Detroit or Washington, where they've all struggled historically to get free agents, although Detroit is kind of hit or miss with free agents, they've
Hmm.
gotten some really good ones in their past. Um, like it's it kind of screws those teams because they're like, how do I build a good team then? Because if they're 7.4% chance of getting the number one overall pick, I'd assume that means they've got a 17.4 overall percent chance of getting 14th overall pick. So it's like
Yep,
there's a lot more movement, which sure is fine, but also at the same time, like one player has too much impact on a team to do that.
it does. Yeah,
Because then,
yeah,
because then you could be the Lakers lose Luca for like 2 weeks, and it caused them to fall out of the playoffs.
and now you end up with the first overall pick, or the
Yeah, and then
fourth.
they end up with a historically great
And then you get Cam
prospect.
Johnson.
Like,
Yeah,
what the heck? Like, it would favor the teams that are already strong free agent uh, locations more than I'm happy with. Like, I don't think there's really. I've said it already. I don't think there's really a clean solution
there's
to fixing anti tanking, just because it's far and away the best solution to building a good team, and I don't think you're really going to be able to replace that at all, because like one player, you get one great player for 8 years. That's 8 years you can build a championship roster around that player.
yep,
Like,
absolutely.
and then assuming they sign another extension, that's 12. That's far more valuable than free agency. That's far more valuable than trades, because there's a lot less unknown and you get a lot more potential there.
Yeah, and also the NBA nowadays. I mean, you don't need the number one pick to build a contender, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I think we've seen a lot of teams where early on Dallas's biggest problem was Luka was too good so fast that they couldn't get high lottery picks to put next to him.
Yeah. They
So
still drafted Brunson in the second round.
they did.
They drafted
They screwed all.
surprisingly well in
They did.
hindsight for how bad some of those Dallas teams
And I
were.
think no matter what, like, yeah, I think scouting departments are important. I mean, you don't get a Nikola Jokic during a Taco Bell ad if you don't have good scouts.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, what Giannis went 15th,
I believe
14th.
so, yeah. Yeah.
He's either late lottery or
Kawhi
if
went
you need it
15th.
at the end.
Yeah, and then a couple guys I've already mentioned have slid super far as well. Jimmy
Yeah.
Butler was 30th overall pick. Draymond Green 35th. Like there's talent later in the draft, so you can build, but you still need that main star a lot of times that
Yeah.
usually you're gonna find earlier on.
Absolutely, absolutely. We can go ahead and move on to the next part. I mean, this is going to be made. This decision on lotteries and everything will be decided by people much richer and hopefully smarter than us. So, I mean, all of our thoughts and ideas are kind of for naught. I genuinely do like the idea of only swaps. I think trading first round picks has just become too ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I think I'm probably the only person in the world who would really agree with that idea, and that's okay. But
Who knows?
who knows?
Yeah, and transitioning, we've kind of touched on it a little bit. Who stood out the most among this rookie class about a third of the way through the season for you?
Derek Queen is definitely a standout. I really didn't expect much from him. I think maybe in a negative light, Kaman Malawat, or Malawach. I don't know exactly how I'm supposed to pronounce that. I thought he would be a lot better. I thought he would really stand out to me. I feel like he's not really doing anything. Similar with Young Han Soon, I thought he would play. He's really been more of a G League guy so far. But in terms of like positive standouts, along with Derek Queen, it's been VJ Edgecombe. I really didn't expect to see much. I know he was a high pick in the draft. Like it's not like I'm saying some guy in the second round is amazing. It's not a Tamani Kamara situation. But VJ Edgecombe, I think it's just been really fun to watch. He's really exciting. Dylan Harper's really starting to find his stride with the Spurs. I've been watching a lot of the Spurs this year just because Wemby's ridiculous. Stephon Castle's one of my favorite young people in the league to watch at all. Maybe my favorite young player right now, who's not on the Cavs. So I think VJ Edgecombe, though, would probably be my pick. Him and Harper and Queen are the three that I've really loved. Harper for his defense, I mean, he's such a good player on both sides of the court. I know you and I were talking after they drafted him about like how do you fit Harper, Fox, and Castle into the same team. I think Harper's just like team first attitude has really fixed that problem. I don't know if you have to
Yeah.
trade any of them. He's so just team focused. He just wants to win. And same with Castle. So like that lack of an ego from Harper is great. You know, that's exactly what made his dad, Ron Harper, such a great player. He was fantastic wherever he went. Really tenacious defender. I love VJ Edgecombe just for the fact he's kind of bringing life back to Philly. I don't think Philly has any runway to be a contender anytime soon, especially when your three best players are all, small guards. And yeah, I'm taking Embiid out of the best player list because he just doesn't play. I don't know if we'll ever see a real season from him again. But you have Jeremy Kane, great player, exciting, always hurt. Tyrese Maxey, ridiculously talented, should be in MVP conversations if they were better. And then VJ Edgecombe, really exciting. But again, like, there's not a true nucleus or a core, and a lot of money is in your injured Paul George and Embiid players, right? So I don't know what the future looks like for them, but I am a fan of Edgecombe. And then Queen, we talked about him a lot last week, so I won't go over it. Really talented, needs to be a better defender, get a defender next to him, but I'm excited for his future. How about you?
Yeah, not to kind of like hit that Wizards bell too much, but their rookies have looked fantastic since Trey Johnson has come back from that injury, because he got hurt last year at Texas, kind of played through it a little bit. He's if you haven't seen too much of the stuff surrounding him, he's actively being asked by Wizards coaching staff to stop working out because he's never off the court. Those three guys, Will Riley and Jameer Watkins as well. They've been phenomenal to me, especially since, like I said, Trey Johnson came back from his injury. Will Riley, 6'10", by the way, has one of the most fluid games I've ever seen, and he is very, very, very hard-nosed defense. Him and Jameer Watkins are very strong defenders. There was a play, I think it was Devin Booker, where Devin Booker tried posting up Jameer Watkins, smaller defender, right? Jameer Watkins just stands his ground, stands straight up, and Booker can't get around him. Like, they're incredible defensive players, and I think they're going to be, like, when Washington's good again, I think those two are going to be a big part of that. Whether Will Riley's starting or the sixth man, who knows? But those two are going to be massive parts of Washington's resurgence in the future. Another couple guys that have stood out to me. Again, VJ Edgecombe's been fantastic. I thought he was going to win Rookie of the Year early. Con Knipple, he's also been absolutely wonderful.
He's been great.
I think isn't he averaging like 23 and 3 on like 50, 40, 90, something ridiculous like that. And when he's got Brandon Miller next to him, they're legitimate. They look like a legitimate team. They just need really another player in there, in my opinion.
And you would think it'd be LaMelo Ball, but I don't think it will be. I think he's probably out the door. It's Knipple's team now.
Yeah, I think they've looked good with LaMelo on offense, but the defense is still too much of a question mark because it's a really small sample size, but they have a historically great offense when the three play together. Like the entire team, even as long as those three all play, it's like 138 offensive rating. It's ridiculous. But the other side is you need the three of them to play together. Like,
yeah.
They just.
Yeah.
Another guy, he was really quiet until Domantas Sabonis went down at the beginning of December. Maxime Reynaud, I believe, is averaging 19 points per game since Domantas Sabonis went down, which is essentially the month of December. He's filled in that spot wonderfully. He's rebounded extremely well as well. He's been really fun to watch. He pretty much was the spark plug that led to the Mavericks losing to the Kings just the other day. He's been really fun. Cooper Flagg, I've thought has looked like an all-star since moving back to his more natural forward position.
I don't know what they were thinking putting him at point guard. No.
They tried. Jason Kidd did the same thing with Giannis back in 2014. It's like not 2014, but in 2015. So it's not unheard of for Kidd to do that. But it was. I don't agree with the decision. I think that was a silly decision.
Yeah.
Because he sure it helped him develop as a playmaker, but really he's a play finisher. Like, you want him with a head of steam running down towards the basket, sure, but you want him more as a lob threat too. Like, he's such a strong lob threat. If you can get a decent point guard next to him, it just doesn't make sense to me to have no point guard on the floor with him.
Yeah, I do want to give one. Sorry, good.
And since moving to that position, he's averaging like 24, 6, and 3, something ridiculous like that. And he's averaging 2 stocks on the season as well. He's looked fantastic since
he looks great.
Moving away from
his
point guard.
Three-point shooting could go up, but he'll figure that out. And maybe he doesn't need to be a three-point shooter. Giannis still isn't, so it doesn't matter. But I do want to give one quick shout-out to Danny Wolf. He's been a fun rookie to watch.
On the Nets?
Of the Nets. Last time I said of the Kings. We were filming at like 1 a.m., so whatever. I got it mixed up with Raynaud. But Danny Wolf, he looks exciting. I don't know if he'll turn into some kind of star. He's not even starting for the Nets. He's a bench guy, but he's been exciting, really good, 6'11". He has some good rhythm to his game. He's been a pretty solid finisher. He's shooting pretty all right from 3. It's 36.7% on 3 attempts a game, so he's making like 1 3 a game. So he's not like a volume shooter. He's not really a 3-point shooter, but he's good enough from out there, averaging about 7.5 points a game. So I think he's been a fun rookie, someone who genuinely I could not have even told you he was in the NBA after the draft. Did not pay attention to him getting drafted, I'll be honest. But he got drafted first round, towards the end of the first round. So good on him. I think he's going to be pretty fun to keep watching. And I just like the amount of talent that we're seeing in the NBA. A lot of these guys probably will not reach, Hall of Fame level talent ceilings, right? Like, you see a lot of great rookies, great second-year players who kind of end up filling into more of a role player role, and that's fine. If I found out 3 years from now Cooper Flagg was more of a role player than a superstar, I wouldn't care. He's having a great career anyway. I think being a high-end roles player is, you're a top 1% basketball player in the world then. So I just like seeing how many like guaranteed good role players we have for the future at the very least out of all of these guys.
Yeah. And another fun guy, since you mentioned the Nets, and I'm just gonna give another shout out here, Yegor Demin. I don't know how his name's pronounced. I don't know the stats off the top of my head either. But watching him, he's got all NBA potential. Mm-hmm. He's looked so good. He's, I think, 6'9".
He's tall.
Yeah, he's been shooting extremely well as well. They've got him playing small forward this year, which I don't know if I necessarily agree with, because he's a point guard.
About his
his potential's at the point guard position.
Yeah.
So if the Nets decide to move him back to the point guard and let him go through the growing pains of learning the point guard position, which a lot of teams, like you'll see a lot of teams kind of push that back as much as possible, which is a big part why Houston's struggling, is because Reed Shepherd did not get the point guard reps.
Yeah.
Amen Thompson did not get the point guard reps. And they're forced to take those reps now when they're trying to contend, which has really hurt them because now they're going through the growing pains when the team's good. So I'd really like to see Demin in the second half of the season. I'd really like to see him get more point guard reps. I think that would be really good for him. I think it's really good for the long-term vision of the Nets. Because they've got a fantastic defense, right? And they've been the best defense in the NBA over the month of December. Like, they have the tools to be really good. They're still missing that next star. They still do need another star there. But I think
might be Devin.
It might be, or they could get a guy like they could get Caleb Wilson with the 4th pick, or maybe if Darren Peterson falls to 4, they could have a backcourt of Demin and Peterson, which, if you think about the average height of a team, that would be a 6'9" point guard and 6'8" shooting guard. Like, that would be a massive team.
The Nets are probably going to be a team who end up tanking. They'll probably trade Porter Jr. and they'll probably end up tanking.
I think they
would have a good chance at something.
I think they move Porter Jr. I think they try and get 1 or 2 draft picks out of him, especially like this 2026 draft. And I think they probably try and consolidate their picks into an earlier draft pick as well. But I think the Nets have something with their young core. You said Danny Wolf. I think he's been fantastic off the bench. But Yegor Domin, I think, is really the main guy that has looked great to me outside of, obviously, Michael Porter Jr. If they make him a point guard, I think the sky's the limit for him. I think he could have potential to look close to, not really at the level, obviously, of like the Magic Johnson's, Jason Kidds. I think he could. I don't think he can reach Magic Johnson, obviously, but I think he could look more in that vein than anybody currently in the league, other than Tyrese Halliburton. So, like,
that's fair.
Really investing in him as a point guard early would be a great benefit to the Nets. And since you mentioned a couple negative names, I'll throw out a couple negative names that have been a little disappointing to me. Kaman Maluak, we all knew he was going to be a raw prospect, but he hasn't done anything in Phoenix. Ace Bailey, I've thought, has been really quiet. For how much noise he was making coming into the draft process, and then how loud he was about trying to force his way to a specific team, I was expecting to hear more out of him. But and again, I don't know his stats off the top of my head, but I feel like I haven't really noticed him when I've watched the Jazz. It's mostly been other guys that have stood out to me, Keontae George. And then you've mentioned Young Hansoon for being the 16th overall pick. Again, really extremely raw prospect. We all knew he was going to take several years to get really to the NBA pace. But Portland taking him when they did, it's
especially
not
when they
looking.
have Klingon as well.
They've got Klingon as well, and they've got the talent to compete now. So why are they taking a raw draft prospect at a position where at the time they had 3 starting caliber centers, because they still have Robert Williams as well.
Yeah.
And they've got Donovan Klingon, and they had DeAndre Ayton at the time. Like, that made no sense to me. Like, it's like, I like the pick. It's bold. I think he's going to turn out to be one of the better. I think he has potential to be one of the better players in this draft, because, again, extremely raw. Has a lot of the similar skill sets to, like, Jokic, Şengün. We talked about that caliber of player. But it's going to take him some time. And Portland just doesn't have the time to really invest in that right now.
They might. I mean, I don't expect that they're going to really expect to win a championship anytime soon. I think bringing back Dame was more of a courtesy. No disrespect to Dame, but I don't think they brought him in to try to win now. They've been surprisingly good for what they should have been.
Last year, they were pushing for a playoff spot last year, right? Or a play-in spot. And then Denny Avdia took a giant leap. Shaedon Sharp's looking fantastic. Scoot Henderson's been hurt, unfortunately, but he looked really good to end the season last year. And he looked really, I believe early in the season he looked solid as well. But, like, they've got
right
guys
now they're
who are
14 and 20. So
they have guys that are looking to win. Like Denny Avdia in particular is looking to start winning. You've got Drew Holiday on that team, Jeremy Grant. They've got a ton of talent that it just doesn't quite make sense for where they are in the standings. It's weird. They're a weird team to me right now. And I don't really know what the path forward for them is, other than just kind of sitting still. But if they sit still, a lot of their guys are going to have lower trade value, like Jeremy Grant. He's not getting any younger. Robert Williams.
His trade value is already rough just because of that max deal he got.
Drew Holiday has also been in the league since 2009. So, those guys are getting older. You don't really have a lot of middle ground players other than Denny, who's kind of that middle age. Like, he's, 26, 27 now? Like, that's... You've got a lot of young guys and a lot of old guys, and it's a weird... They're in a weird spot, is where I'm going to put that. Like, I don't know. But Young Hansoon, I like him. I think he's going to be good. But early on, it's just... early on it's
expected
been
to be a
rough,
second
but
round
he
pick,
was
man.
expected.
Like,
It was
I don't
expected.
know why. Still don't know why they took him 16th when he's expected to be a second rounder.
Yeah,
But we'll see. Might really work out.
yeah. And then the other topic we already covered. Is there anything else? Any other rookies that have stood out to you?
Not necessarily, no. Still kind of watching. I haven't really picked up on any other like hidden gem rookies.
Yeah.
No.
And actually, one more guy that I thought of, Kazjak. I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Okay.
He went to Miami, out of Illinois, and he has not really done anything. He's been in the G League for a lot of the season when a lot of people thought he was going to be an impact player. A lot of people had him going sixth. Huh?
What team was he with?
He's with the Heat right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Kasparas Yakuchonis.
Yep, yeah. I
Yakuchonis?
yeah.
I don't know how his name's pronounced,
I
but
thought that was like his last name itself. Okay.
No.
Yep, I know what you're talking about now.
But yeah, a lot of people thought he would be a day one impact player. I saw a lot of big boards had him going 6th overall, 5th overall for some of them.
Yeah, I completely forgot he existed. He's just been nowhere.
Yeah, because he hasn't played. I don't think he's been playing. I think he's been in the G League for
He's played 8
Miami
games so far.
Yeah, he just really hasn't.
Yeah,
the expectations were a lot higher for him.
Mm-hmm.
And another really positive one. I'm forgetting his name now. Other rookie in San Antonio.
Oh gosh, who is it? I should know this.
Yeah, it's annoying
I've
me
been watching
that.
them.
Yeah, it's annoying me that I
Carter
can't think of the
Bryant?
name. Yes, Carter Bryant. He has been really fun. He is a fantastic defensive player. He is wonderful on defense.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this rookie class has been extremely exciting to me. You've got a lot of raw prospects. Like I've said, you've got Young Hunsoon. You've got the three guys up in Washington where they'll have some areas to grow. You got Carter Bryant. I think has room to grow. You've got Kasper Sakuchonis. You've got Ace Bailey. Like there's a lot of guys that have a lot of room to grow where they're just kind of looking a little raw early on.
Yep, and that's okay. We'll see where they end up going.
Yeah, and then obviously you've got the two guys who are looking like all-stars right now with Cooper Flagg and Con Kneppel. Like those two guys have been fantastic. VJ Edgecombe's been fantastic. Like you've got 4 guys who look like great players already, and then a bunch of raw prospects. And I think that's really fun.
NBA is in good hands.
And also kind of sticking to the theme of young players, but a little weirder of a spot. The Thompson Twins have come into some weird controversy over the last month or so, few weeks maybe, where a lot of people are calling both Amen and Asar busts from their draft class.
Yeah, I pulled up their stats because I do not watch them and see busts. I see Amen Thompson, and I see a phenomenal player who's not a good three-point shooter at all. Asar Thompson is actually shooting better than Amen right now from 3. When, mind you, it's on less volume by quite a bit, but I mean, like, Asar was, like, airballing every three-pointer he took his rookie season. He was a bad shooter. But they're both good. I mean, Amen averaging, about 18 points a game, handful of rebounds, handful of assists, like, he's a phenomenal athlete. He's a damn good scorer. He's a solid passer, great defender. I would not say he's a bust. I see him as a potential multi-time All-Star.
Yeah.
Asar, I don't think is as good, but he's pretty solid.
Keep in mind, they're both 23. They're 23 years old. Asar Thompson, you mentioned he was the worst player. He's also playing in a system that's an everybody eats system. Mm-hmm. Right, and keep in mind they also have the best shooting coach in the league, in my opinion, Eric Vincent. But which is probably why he's seen the growth in his jump shot. But he's playing in a system
6 threes attempted a game, but he might up it.
But he plays in a Detroit system where they value ball movement. They really don't care who scores, right? Yeah. Whereas like Houston, it really kind of just goes through 3 guys. And again, we're talking about a 17-7-4 guy who's also all defensive team caliber defender. And we're seeing him go 4th overall, and we're like, this guy's a bust. What are we talking about?
Amen Thompson being called a bust is ridiculous to me. He's
And
one of my favorite young players to watch right now.
And Asar Thompson, he's averaging, I think, 12, 6, and 3. He's been on a minutes restriction on and off, but like he's also an All NBA caliber defender, right? Like you're talking about 2 of the best perimeter defenders in the league, right? Who are also phenomenal help defenders in the paint as well, like. The best pick and roll defensive duo in the league is Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren, right? And like 8th place is Cade Cunningham and Jalen Duren because Asar Thompson's the help side defender. Like the Thompson Twins are phenomenal defensive players, and they're game changing defensive players. So they're
calling Asar Thompson a bust when he's a starter on the best team in the Eastern Conference. Just feels asinine to me. Granted, I was saying that stuff about Isaac Okoro when he was a starter for the Cavs, but I think that was a bit of a different situation because
it's different because the Thompson Twins are just Isaac Okoro, but 3 inches taller, about 40 pounds more muscle, and closer to LeBron James athletes than to just the NBA average.
Yeah,
and and like I've said, you have the growing pains of learning to play point guard for Amen Thompson, and then Asar Thompson is in a little bit of a reduced role because he's next to Cade frickin' Cunningham, right? Like,
I think in a perfect world, Amen Thompson is not a point guard. He strikes me more as a power forward, small forward.
Like
he would need to be a
like
much
point
better
forward.
Yeah, he would need to be a much better shooter to really fit as a small forward. But if he could become a shooter, he'd be great there. I think he's more of a power forward. He can play on the perimeter. He can play in the paint. He can get out on fast breaks. I mean, we talk about how great Obi Toppin looks on the fast breaks. Amen Thompson's not far off, right?
No.
I think he's a phenomenal athlete. Like you said, I think they're not even 23 yet. I think they're close to, but they're still like 22, maybe 23.
Yeah. I think this is their 23. Great. I think this is their age 23 season. I think they turned 23 before the cutoff on that. But another thing with Asar Thompson, the big weakness for the Pistons early on in the season was they struggled against the zone. That was their big thing. That was the big weakness. And then they started putting Asar Thompson that weak spot in the middle because he's got an automatic like 10. His 10-foot jumper is automatic.
Yeah,
he has a very, very, very good 10-foot jumper. You take him past that, he's hit or miss. Right, he's below league average past that. But that 10-foot jump shot, and this is why I think a lot of people are putting a lot more stock into him as a co-star for Cade. But he's very good in that short mid-range. And Amen Thompson, he's not quite as good of a shooter. He's not quite as good of a defender, but he's slightly more athletic. He doesn't have. I think Asar Thompson has asthma. Amen does not. I think there is that little bit of a difference, and Amen's a slightly better athlete, a little bit more durable. He's a better playmaker as well, in my opinion. So, like, there's definitely strengths and weaknesses, but it's baffling to me to call either one a bust at this point, especially at this point in their careers. But really, like, if they ended their career with the exact stats they have, I'd be happy with that as the 4th and 5th overall picks.
Yeah.
Like, you look past them, you've got Anthony Black, who, yes, he's been great for Orlando this season. He's still not either one of the Thompson Twins. You've got Bilal Coulibaly, who his defense is great, his offense is non-existent unless it's in the fast break. He's also just a 3rd Thompson Twin if you compare their games.
I can see that. Yeah.
And then like Jarris Walker, who really doesn't play.
He doesn't.
He's playing a little bit more this season, but he hasn't been good this season. And then I don't remember who's immediately after that, but it's like you've got. I don't see any world where they're a bust. I don't understand.
I didn't even know this was a debate. Honestly, I thought everyone had just agreed that they were really good.
I've seen it over and over again. It's very loud at Spurs Twitter is where I've seen it, and I've seen it several times as well. But most of the talk is in Spurs Twitter because basically, I think what started it was Houston fans were like, look at the team that Adam Silver gifted the Rockets, and they were like, you had 4 top 4 picks and you drafted all busts. Like.
Yeah, I mean, Jabari Smith hasn't turned out to be much yet.
Jabari Smith wasn't that great. Reed Shepherd has had a few games that have been really good, but for the most part, he's been really quiet. And I'm not going to put too much stock into a few games as an off-ball scorer. Like, because ultimately,
I think we settled the debate for the world, though. I think the Thompson twins are not busts. We've settled it. No one has to question it anymore.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. I've seen it like 10 times. I'm like, what the hell? Like every time, I'm like, what are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's it for our New Year's special.
Sounds good. What's your NBA New Year's resolution? If you had one for the NBA or any team, any player specifically, choose one player. Yeah, go ahead. Choose one player who you want to give a resolution to. Tell them to do something.
Paolo Banchero needs to stop playing like Carmelo Anthony and start playing more.
Unironically, was going to be Paolo Banchero needs to realize he's 6'10", 250.
Yeah. He needs to realize he is way closer to Giannis or LeBron in stature than he is to and skill set, and like young LeBron, like pre jump shot LeBron. Like he's closer to those guys in stature and skill than he is to.
He has the build to just drive down and no one can stop him.
Yeah, he's a freight train, right? Yep. With the way that the league is, with the way that basketball is officiated in 2025, and the way that and the skill set he has and the handle he has, there is no excuse for why he can't just bully his way to the rim and be exactly what everyone thought Zion was going to be. But be Paolo Banchero. Like he has the skill set to do that. And he's got the playmaking to really like capitalize on the gravity that would create at the rim as well. He just is insistent on being Carmelo Anthony. And it kills the magic over and over and over and over and over and over again. And it will kill them in the playoffs again this year. If they even make it to the playoffs, it'll kill them again.
Yeah.
Because again, he's 6'10", 250 pounds, probably more than that, of just pure muscle. And he's fast, he can jump. They are better with him off the floor because he refuses to play his archetype he refuses to play his style of basketball. And it's baffling to me. He's also, of all eligible players in the NBA right now on jump shots, he is dead last. He's got an effective field goal percentage of, I think it was 23.8%, right? Second worst is Ja Morant at 35. There is a sizable gap between him and second worst.
That's rough.
He is having the worst jump shooting season in NBA history. He needs to just get to the basket.
Dunk it, buddy.
It's not even like one of those players. It's not even like he's Rudy Gobert where he can't make a layup. He can only dunk. No, he's got a good layup package.
Yeah.
Why does he insist on shooting the ball as often as he does when he's the worst shooter in the league? And again, not close. It is not close at all. Like,
I'm so sorry. I didn't know I was opening up like a trauma for
you. It's wild to me because like he has the talent. He's a phenomenal basketball player when he plays to his strengths, but he just refuses to do so and insists on playing to the weakest part of his game, which is also just the worst in the league. Like if you took away the contested mid-ranges and the pull-up threes and the pull-up jumpers in general, that he's probably closer to like maybe not middle of the pack, but below average as a shooter. But instead he insists on being Carmelo Anthony. And he's not.
See how it pans out. He'll figure it out one way or the other. We'll see.
I think he just needs to. I think he can be an all NBA caliber guy if he just put his head down, put his shoulder down, and just got to the rim. like force his way to the rim by any means necessary. And once he's there, again, he's got the athleticism, he's got the size, he's got the strength, he's got the finishing package, he's got the playmaking to basically do whatever the hell he wants. And he's got the talent around him as well that if he collapses the defense, you can find Wendell Carter Jr. in the dunker spot. Franz Wagner can cut behind him for an open layup. You've got Anthony Black and Desmond Bane as shooters. Like, you've got so many options you can do if he just got to the frickin' rim. And he just refuses to do it. I don't get it. It's astounding to me.
Regardless,
his refusal
Happy New Year to
so.
Paolo Banchero in
Yes,
the Orlando Magic. And,
my
resolution was the same one. He needs to play better. He should be a star. Yeah, no. I was a really big fan of Banchero, and I still am, but genuinely it's the same one. Yeah.
Sorry to open that can of worms. Went on a little bit of a rant there. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. Happy New Year's to all of our viewers. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.